Welcome. Bigger in the morning. We're gearing up to go. Doing a quick one today. Gonna do at least an hour. I don't know if we'll. I don't know if we'll do the full 2. I don't know if we'll do the full 2. I know my wife's. I'm doing stuff with my wife today. Oh fuck! I gotta text a lot of people today. There's a lot of stuff I gotta remember to do. I love reading comments. God damn it, I love reading comments. What is we did the big bad stream yesterday. Here on this channel. Where it was me, Pat. We kind of shot the shit for like 2 hours. I might repost that on something for you guys for your beautiful listening pleasure. Might do that, might not do that. I got a lot of stuff I need to keep lists. I need to keep list on BZ. What's up, brother? I need to keep lists. I should say that differently. I just realized that of to-do lists. I should keep to-do lists. But yeah, we did that long. What's Derek saying over here? If they can fantasy and Lord of the Rings is some nerd shit for real. If they can do Gathering of the Juggalos every 25 years, Warped Tour could have figured it out. Yeah, we were talking about Warped Tour a bunch yesterday. And I was like trying to speculate. I would love to find out specifically what caused them to fail, because it is just like, because everyone goes back to the Netflix blockbuster thing, and they kind of looked at, and I completely understand on a surface level why people think Netflix killed Blockbuster because of the model. That makes sense. Oh, was there a new trailer for that Marvel Cosmic Invasion? I might have to watch that real quick. It makes a bunch of sense on its surface why that would be the case. You know, you wouldn't fault anyone for assuming that, but if you just take 2 seconds to look into it, you realize like, no, Blockbuster was actually gearing up to take over. Not take over, but they were fine. Like from a entertainment technology standpoint, they were completely fine. It was just they were in a fuck ton of debt, and no matter how good your product is, or no matter how good your service is, or anything like that, if you're in more debt than you are bringing money in, you're fucking cooked. And that's really where fucking Blockbuster was. And I'm wondering if Warped Tour was in a situation like that, because like, I don't know. That was really gross. I'm so sorry. I drank that water weird, and I don't know if that weird sound that my throat just made picked up on the mic. Pause. But yeah, I wonder what that was about Warped Tour. I wonder if there's a video on that on YouTube. We could watch that maybe today or tomorrow or something. Yeah, I would love to find out. Thank you for all the new people in the mix on here, chilling with me, hanging out. Is Superman punk rock? So that was kind of an interesting moment. I saw you probably saw me post that, Sidewalk Toes. You probably saw me post that. Yeah, I thought that was a very interesting that was a very interesting tidbit from it. I don't know what it just made me laugh. Oh, here's a video from fucking Vice. Van's Warped Tour had to end because Punk is dead. But yeah, I don't know if Superman's punk rock. He kind of feels, well, it's the question is, what is punk rock? You know, from a musical standpoint. And I hate people that do this where like they talk about it in hardcore, and from a philosophical standpoint, hardcore is definitely more of a idea and a way of being than it is a music. But when it comes to a music, it's a certain type of thing. And that's like, I think punk rock, it's like, what are we talking about? We talking about with punk rock, are we talking about philosophically or the music? Because if we're talking about the music, it's power chords and fast drum beats and things like that. and verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, stuff like that. That's what punk rock is musically. And there's a weird people have a real problem in this world with saying things because it feels fun. It's a big thing people like to do. They like to say things because they feel fun. So they'll be like, hey, this thing that's clearly not punk rock, it's actually punk rock. And you're supposed to go, whoa. And you're like, no, it's not. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I'm not a fan of mislabeling things. I'm trying to think of a good example. But like lore, like giving something one word to sort of represent a large, like something that would take you a short sentence to describe. I don't know what these actual terms are, but something that would take a short sentence to describe, just saying it in one word. Let me give you an example. It's like how people go, like, they call just shit that has happened to you in your life lore. And it's like, lore is what happens in a Dark Souls game or Bloodborne or, World of Warcraft or what's the 40K? What's that one called? Warhammer. That's where lore happens, or like a video game and shit, or a movie or something. That's lore, or even a book series. You know what I mean? The stuff that happened to you since you've been born is not your lore. That shit that's happened to you. And hey man, I'm always down for an abbreviation or like just some sort of brevity being attributed to a situation, but lore. I'm just throwing up gang signs accidentally. I didn't mean that. Sorry, I'm not a Crip. Crips out there? That was not what that was. But no. Just. Oh wait a minute. Fuck. I gotta do the fucking thing. I gotta do this before the stream gets too far in. I keep forgetting to rechange this because I've said it before. There's something about when I post these podcasts. There's something about when I post these, not podcasts, these live streams, YouTube, and I wonder if it affected it yesterday because I forgot. I didn't do it for like half an hour. Yeah, it's over here. When I go, I need to change the presets on the live stream. Because we have the preset on the live stream and it's like you need to answer this question. And because that's not answered, I don't know why the preset isn't just not for kids. Just assume it's not for kids, and if it's for kids, I'll change it on my own. If it's for kids, I'll change it on my own. But it's not for kids, so don't fucking worry about it. But yeah, so that when you don't change that setting, it like downgrades it a little bit. And I got to remember to switch that up. And I didn't remember to do that. Because I thought, the stream we did yesterday, like I didn't put, like current eventsy stuff in the title or anything like that. I didn't put that kind of shit in the title, but also at the same time, we've been doing the damn thing. So I would have thought there'd be a little bit more views on YouTube and stuff. So I think forgetting to do that for a half hour may have affected it negatively. But yes, back to my lore conversation, because I had that comment yesterday. And I had that one comment yesterday, and it did kind of get to me where it was like, we like having Pat here. We like having Pat here because he keeps Andy on track. And then I saw it in his eyes. He got way too much. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think it might be the jiu-jitsu. A lot of people say jiu-jitsu calms you down and humbles you. It hasn't done that to Pat. He's an absolute menace. I can see it in his eyes. He doesn't think anyone, and there's, because he knows jiu-jitsu, there's a smaller list of people that can beat him up than the average person. And that's pretty cool. But it has not humbled him. He is a monster waiting to break out of his cage. He just needs a reason. And when I see comments like that, I get scared because I go, that's his reason. So for his own safety, I don't know. I might have to get a gun in the meantime, Just whenever he gets, whenever he gets a little too big for his britches, I go, I got a gun, Pat. Calm down, Pat. I got a gun. I'll shoot you with this gun, Pat. And then in the meantime, I'll have to learn jujitsu and be able to hurt him, because we do not want these. Like, don't get me wrong, he's very talented. Pat's very talented, and he does. Sometimes I get a little off track. He keeps me on track. I need to work on that. So you guys don't need to compliment him. He doesn't need the compliments. It will turn him into a monster. But yeah, he is talented. He is great. He does. That's literally why I asked him to help me with the podcast, because it's hard for me to stay on track. I get my good friend Pat. He helps me stay focused. He doesn't need to hear that, though. He's a menace. He's a menace to society. He already has too inflated of an ego. It doesn't need to get bigger just because you guys want to fucking be nice to him. Knock it off. Stop complimenting Pat. Stop it. No, I'm fucking around. Pat's the man. But it was the comment did hit to me. It did get to me. Not because I'll say this. A lot of comedians, because they're cowards, they they get annoyed with a lot of the comments, because they'll be like, you shouldn't be able to, it's like back in the day, you got to do your thing and you didn't have to see everyone's opinion, which you didn't have to see it through fucking Twitter, but you still saw it. You know what I mean? It's not like, that's the thing. That's the thing people get fucked up on. People get fucked up on because they'll be like, it's a whole different landscape. Is it? Like, I know politically we talk about it post 9/11 and now post Charlie Kirk. There's definitely standards of behavior that change, but I think when it comes to certain things like entertainment, like, I don't know. I grew up with, now it's much, back in the day, it was much more the like the TMZs of the world and the talk shows and stuff like that, that would be sort of the way to hit people with the criticism that would cause the craziness. Now the audience is able to hop in on that. So it's like, to me, it's not, I don't know if it's necessarily worse. I just think it's different. Like, we were kind of talking about it yesterday with, Pat was going on a whole thing. Pat was going on a whole thing about how these like institutions are dead, which are true. These like institutions are showing that they're not even dead. They're just not as powerful or relevant. And it was like the big thing was with porn, where, you get the power in the people's hands and they get to control their own thing, and porn gets to be a little bit different and safer. And it's like, that's how it feels on the surface. But I watched some shit with OnlyFans girls. It's you don't have to get fucking sexually assaulted by a weird porn producer anymore. But there is this I've heard these girls say it's like the level of harassment they get and the behavior from these dudes watching their shit and stuff like that, and like the harassment you get online. I think what happens is just like we get a new medium and we get new beasts to deal with. We get new beasts that we have to like fucking deal with. But going back to what I was saying before, well, not going back to this, just like an offshoot of what I was saying before with like a lot. I see it with a lot of comedians. A lot of comedians get angry. It's just, what it is? It's the same thing. Bringing up Pat again. When we were talking on the one episode, I forget which episode of No More Heroes we were talking about, but we were talking about like movies that use CGI, and Pat's like, I hate CGI. And then we kind of talked about more, and it was like, no, you don't hate CGI. You hate bad CGI. And it's the same thing with like crowd work. Everyone's like, crowd work's bullshit. And I always bring up my example where it's like, all right, then tell me Patrice O'Neal was a hack. And if you do that, I know you're not a real comedian. And I'm not saying you have to like Patrice, but there's some comics I thought were legends that I sort of fell off with a bit, but now I'm not going to sit here and go like they're bad. I go, they're not like my thing. I just don't fuck with them as much anymore. It's the same thing. Patrice doesn't have to be your number one guy, but like, you know, if you're gonna sit there and tell me Patrice O'Neal's a hack, you don't know what you're talking about. So like that's the thing I get, because like what the fuck, this whole bullshit where it's like crowd work is a crutch and it's a trick, and it's like, I don't know. It's like, is it, or is doing the same joke for fucking 5 years, is that a crutch? You know what I mean? There's comics who have like, they'll write fucking one new good joke a year. But you know what's a trick? Is going up and just thinking up stuff off the top of your head and making people laugh just as hard. No, that's not talent. That's a crutch. You know what I mean? And then they just show up the shittiest crowd work clip. And it's like, I don't know. But anyway, I'm not gonna get sorry. I get sensitive to that because I love crowd work. I love doing crowd work. It's fun. It's like, did the joke you've been doing for your whole fucking comedy career do well? No shit. Oh, is that joke you've been fine-tuning for the past couple years doing well? No shit. It's like, don't get me wrong, that's a talent and that's great, but it's almost just being like, it's the fucking people don't hate crowd work, they just hate Jordan Jensen. I mean, that's some hating ass shit, Derek. Jordan's crowd work clips are the good ones. It's like I get where people are coming from with the crowd work stuff, but Jordan Jensen's crowd work clips are the good ones. No, and then but then, correlating back that to the original thing, like people will be like, it'll be like people shouldn't be able to have. It's this thing where it's like comics will talk about artists and stuff in general do this. I've heard them do it a bunch on podcasts where they'll be like, you shouldn't be able to, who gives a fuck about your opinion? You shouldn't be able to say this. You should be able to say that about shit you don't know. And then comics will go on podcasts and it's like, they'll just say wild things about shit they don't know. And I'm just like, you're doing the thing you're mad at. So what you really mean to say is, and it's ironic because I make this joke all the time, but it's like, what you really mean to say is stop being mean to me. You know what I mean? Like most comics go on shit and do the exact and not even just comics. Everyone does this shit. I've listened to some of the music podcasts I listen to. I hear those go. See a lot. Wait, I'm kidding. I like her stuff. Yeah, Jordan. Okay, cool. Jordan rips. I see a lot of haters. Yeah, a lot of haters out there. But like some of the music podcasts I listen to, I literally listened to one and they were like, you can't critique art. Yes, I can. I can. Also, you can, because you do. I've listened. It's like you listen to these podcasts and you're like, they say these things like I haven't. That's the new thing. It's in politics. It's everywhere. It's everyone talks and behaves in a way where they go, you couldn't possibly remember a couple weeks ago. And it's like, brother, I listen to your podcast every week. I've been listening to it every week for like a couple years. I remember the things you say. And it's just like, well, you can't criticize art. And, you hear it's like, why you comment on this? Anyway, I'm going to comment on things I don't know a lot about for an hour every week for years. It's like, just, you didn't like you know what I mean? Like everyone needs to justify their emotions and why it's not bad that they felt that or some shit like that. When in actuality, it's just like, yeah, we're all human. Sometimes we get a little emotional and everyone's just pretending we don't. It's retarded. Yeah. Sometimes you spaz. It's like, I always say it before. It's like someone goes like, oh, you mad? Yeah, you, because you're being a jerk. Don't be mean to me. I don't like that. And if I'm being mean to you and you call me out, I'll do my best to apologize for that. It's like, what are we doing? Wasn't that the thing since day one? Wasn't that the fucking thing? I don't know. Oh, my wife's texting me. She has to. Okay, here we go. Oh, you guys just got a little bit more time with me. Because no, my wife had to. Sorry, guys. Just got to text my wife back because she had a thing to do. But you guys got a little bit more time with me, so that's some good stuff. Let me post real quick, actually, that we're on YouTube and shit like that. Is everyone having a good day? Let me talk about Superman real quick. I actually haven't finished it. Is it open? Derek, thank you for commenting everywhere else. I really appreciate all your hard work, boys and girls. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I watched this is another thing. And this is why all the shit talking what state and city are you in? That's a intense question. Wouldn't you like to fucking know? Wouldn't you like to fucking know? What state and city are you in? That's a weird way to start off a conversation with someone. For real, for real. I'm not actually like mad. I'm just busting your balls. Let me post on Twitter real quick. Big Red in the morning. What's today? 9/20. God damn. Big Red in the morning. Use the YouTube link. Superman's really good. Oh, that was another thing. Again, don't let my friends know how much I love them. I love them dearly. I don't want to fucking tell that to their stupid faces, though. Those fucking fat retards. But no, this was another thing like Pat was going on yesterday where he's like all movies. And it's kind of funny because like I think he's like missing the plot because it's sort of the like philosophy behind it's kind of like part of the philosophy behind Drag the Lake, where it's like there's a lot of shit right now. But just know there's still good shit. You know what I mean? There's a lot of bullshit right now. But there's still good shit. You know what? Like, I don't think there's any less good shit than there used to be. I just think there's more bullshit. And that's what I'm kind of doing with like, you know, I am Mr. Hot Takes on Twitter right now, and I don't apologize for that. It's going to keep happening cuz it's who I am. I used to be embarrassed about my hot takes. Now, I'm probably just as cringy as I always could have been. I can't believe it's almost October. Yeah, whenever it gets to the end of the month, you're like, what the fuck's going on? Slow the fuck down. But yeah, I'm as cringy as I've always been. I just don't care anymore. So I'm gonna be talking shit more on Twitter because the fuck else you can do during the day. But no, it's like I think it's just it's why it's like I heard Tucker Carlson talking about this with architecture and shit. And how like architecture that I didn't know that was a hard one for me to say. Architecture is like shittier now and like lazy. And I think it's like, and I'm Mr. Conspiracy Man, but I don't try to look for him where you don't need to when something a little bit more plausible is at hand. So like with the architecture, it's like I was thinking about the other day when I was or not the other day when we first moved in here. Sorry, fucking comedian brain. The other day. Actually I should post on Instagram real quick. Hi Instagram. Quick Big Red in the morning. Twitch and YouTube. Search Big Red in the morning or my name. I love you. Bye-bye. Okay, there we go. Sorry, guys. When I first moved in to our house we live in here in Texas, that'll answer one of your questions. I'll give you I'm in Texas. And the rest of that information is all on the internet, so you could figure it out. It's just I'm not going to tell you to your fucking face. I was hanging up something in the bathroom. I was hanging up like a towel rack. And I was drilling a hole in the wall. And I was like drilling it. And it was just like, it was like one of those where you're like, fuck, that went in quick. Pause. I Or no, it could have been gone into a pussy. I don't know if that's a pause actually. But yeah, it was one of those where it's like, fuck, that went in quick. And then I'm like tapping on the wall. And I'm like, oh, that's just flimsy plywood. And I don't know how fucking houses are made. And I don't know exactly what they put in walls. You know, it could just be, man. I know they put I know the Pink Panther's in there. I know they put that Pink Panther stuff in there. But you know, it's like I'm fucking I'm working on the wall and I realize like it just like I'm tapping on it and it just feels hollow and stuff like that. It just feels hollow. And like there's not enough in there. You know what I mean? Like, not that I was really checking walls when I was a kid, but there's something about it. There's something about, like, I live in a nice house. I like the house I live in. I like the neighborhood and all that stuff. It's just the house itself. Like, I feel like if this house catches on fire, it'll burn up quicker than a house 20 years ago would have. It just doesn't feel like there's as much tender love and care in it. And I think that's because it's just easier to make a house. You know? Like, I think when it comes to like architecture and shit, because it's just quicker, it's like, well, okay, what do we do? What do we do? Now, there is arguments people make where it's like no one can recreate, and I don't know if that's true. I just take that at their word because everyone says that, so why wouldn't that be true? But like, you know, like I like sometimes I think the reason, or I guess here it's like in the construction worker's mind or the foreman's mind, it's like, so what are we gonna do? We're gonna do this like really elaborate cathedral that'll take for fucking ever and be super expensive, or we can do it this one way that we know will be done very quickly and we can get on to the other job and make a bunch of shit. And it's like, I think shit like that is lower quality just because it's like, well, we can do it a bunch more times this cheaper, simpler way. And I think that transposes to music and movies and TV and entertainment and stuff. Like, it's, you know, the fact that entertainment is easier to make, you know, you get talented people that can kind of like bob and weave through the traditional avenues. But the problem is everyone's bobbing and weaving through the traditional avenues. So you have a lot of people bogging it down. So like, you know, and there's definitely exceptions to this because I know a lot of people were saying in film, like on these bigger budget movies, they just don't look as nice. But I think that's still because of the process of things are just easier to do. So people go like, okay, do I do it the really hard way or do I do it the simpler way that looks shittier but is substantially quicker and easier? But I think, and this could be just me being positive, but I think for the most part, because for the most part, I don't know if there's any less good shit. I just think there's more bad shit. Because like, dude, even this week, I'm looking through like new music and stuff like that. Like, just on a musical standpoint, like, I have a lot of these albums still saved. There's a bunch of newer shit, but yeah, like Secret World just put out a new EP. They fucking rip. Trash, TRSH, they rip. They put out a new album. There's this band Wiccaface Springs Eternal. They put out a new album that's pretty good. Underneath, Many Eyes, Alkaline Trio. The Cool Kids are putting out a new album. And just even before that, for weeks upon weeks. Yeah, Soulkeeper rips, Dying Fetus rips, Missing Link rips. Motion City soundtrack, pretty good. But like, and I could do this for weeks and weeks and weeks of new music. So like for the past couple weeks, there's just been unreal albums coming out. But the problem is for every good album comes out, there's probably like 5 that came out. You know, and I think back in the day, for every good album of the time, probably only 1 or 2 came out at the same time that were bad. But to be fair, I will go back often. We do it on Drag the Lake a bunch. You go back, you find an album that was heralded as one of the greatest albums ever to be written. And you go back and you're like, and at the time, I'll even give a lot of this shit benefit of the doubt. At the time, it could have been true. But then you go back and you're like, yeah, but then we made a bunch of shit, and we realized like what you were doing was, I always say it's like with the Ramones, thank you for your service, but we figured out, and because of your hard work, we got to figure out a way better way to do this. So it's not that we don't appreciate you when we don't love you. It just doesn't hit the same because we didn't realize you were doing a I didn't know that word was going to fuck me up. Rudimentary way of doing this. Hell yeah. But yeah, and shit like Superman, bringing this all back. Shit like Superman is making me realize like dope shit still exists. It's just harder to find, and it's making me realize I need to, people keep coming at our attention spans right now, and I gotta be honest. I don't know if it's our attention span's fault. Tough morning for words. Yeah, dude. I've only had a shit ton of coffee. I literally have no excuse. But a lot of people are blaming our attention spans. And after I'm watching Superman, you know what I didn't have trouble with watching Superman? I didn't have any trouble paying fucking attention to it. You know why? Because it fucking rips. It rips. And I go, like, again, talking to Pat about the shit on, this is a thing we talked about forever ago, but we bring it up a bunch. Like with the murder documentaries, they love a good 3-part series. And then you watch that 3-part series and you're like, this could have been 90 minutes easy. You didn't have to make this over 3-hour plus episodes. What a comment. Need to find a stud, not a les. Yo, studs are I mean, brother, Drewski, I don't know if Drewski manifested it, but Drewski was onto something. Studs are low-key cute. I've seen a bunch out in public. There's a lot of certain areas I go, there's a lot of studs. I get around to see the studs. Drewski was onto something, dude. Something about those studs. But no, like, yeah, I was talking about that with like attention span. And I think, this is why I do it on my own, but this is sorry, very Pat heavy. I texted Pat this morning about Superman because again with the CGI thing, I was like, this is a movie that's entirely in front of CGI that entirely in front of green screens that I think you'll like. But yeah, man, I think it's something to do with the human condition. It's why a lot of that like climate change bullshit, and it's not to say the climate isn't changing, but there's a lot of bullshit propaganda to make you hate yourself and be anti-human. Because a lot of the climate change rhetoric is based off of humans are a cancer and we're imposing on everyone else's existence. So that's like their starting point. And if you accept that, then a lot of climate change shit is reasonable and makes sense. But if you come from a pro-human standpoint, then even if fossil fuels are bad, which I've seen some shit that's debatable in that, but even if fossil fuels are bad, well, if we just get rid of them right now, then a bunch of people are going to die. So maybe instead of just demanding everything be electric next year, or whichever, I'm being facetious. God damn it. I really, it's too early on a Saturday to be trying these words out. But you know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to go, we should transition out of fossil fuels. It's another thing to go, we should make everything electric before it's ready. And it's like, well, get ready for a lot of people to die. So have fun with that one. But yeah, it's this, I don't know, man. If you kind of approach the world, do I remember Tiger's Jaw? Yeah. I never really listened to Tiger's Jaw, but I was always aware of them. But no, it's just like, I don't know. It's just like I'm not even going to be dramatic and say anti-human again in context. Andy has a word of the day calendar. Yeah. can't read it, but I have it. I don't know what they say every day, but I have it and I read it and I try my best. But no, it's like that's what I'm realizing, because there is really good shit. You know, I think because I don't know what it is. I think like it could be because like so many of us grew up Catholic like me, and we probably spread our misery to everyone else. But whenever you grow up Catholic, you're just trained to be like, so you're bad and everything you do is wrong, and you need to spend every day telling God you're sorry. You know, that's why that's why I'm way more open to Christianity, because every time I think about, I have been more curious about religion, but every time I think about getting back into Catholicism, I'm always like, oh yeah, that was the thing that made me hate myself. Maybe we see what Christianity's about. Maybe we don't go back to the thing that made me hate myself. But no, like that is like a thing with a lot of people's behavior and that's why, like, I don't know, man. And I'm saying this from personal experience. Maybe we just bail on bad shit quicker. Maybe we stop as a society humoring bad stuff. And honestly, it's why, and this is gonna sound a little controversial coming from a comedian, but it's why I'm okay with criticism and critics and people like that. But the problem is, most of them, this is why I'm the world's greatest critic and why I'm the world's greatest reviewer and stuff like that, is because I'm one of the few ones who most of the shit I talk about, I learned how to do. Now, I've never been a professional musician. I've never toured in a band, but I played music I've been in bands since middle school to like a little bit after college. And I got really good at the drums. Like I've said this before, the song Dumpweed, I can play at one point in my life, I could play the song First Date by Blink-182 without messing it up. And that's a hard I know it's like a mainstream pop song. That's a hard fucking song to play. If you really look into it, it's a hard song to play. So I got good at the drums. I got good at fucking stand up. I got good at, I've never been a writer or anything, but I wrote my wedding vows and I made a bunch of people cry. I'm a good writer. You know what I mean? But like for real though, a lot of the stuff I talk about, like I've never made a movie, but man, have I watched a bunch of them. Maybe it's not a perfect maybe what I'm saying is not perfectly true, but a lot of the things I talk about, I've like a lot of the things I've talked about, I've ingratiated myself to a degree to try to understand it more, so I'm not just talking out of my ass, but like, I think we're in a time period where so much shit fucking sucks ass that it's like, you need well-trained brains to be like, don't go over here. This sucks ass. But the problem is no one trusts anyone. No one trusts anyone. You know what I mean? No one trusts anyone. So like, that's kind of what I'm trying to bring back. I'm trying to bring back the trustworthy commentator. Great listener. Yo, I hate when you guys torch me perfectly. I'm getting better at books, dude. I'm getting better at books. That's why I also too, I'm good at talking about mental health, because I really did the work and I've really worked on myself and I'm substantially less crazy. No, legitimately, the book, like, dude, this is why you need to just be, as long as you're not a raper, a pederast, all the standard bad ones, as long as you're not those things, or like a sociopath, yeah, you're not a fucking serial killer. As long as you're not the standard bad ones, just focus on being yourself. Because that's like, dude, it goes back to the Catholicism shit. I grew up just being like, everything about you is bad. You're born bad. You're born a bad boy. And you just need to spend your life saying you're sorry. That's what life is. You're a bad boy. And you need to spend that whole life saying you're sorry. So like I would associate with, well, I'm bad. And then I would like a thing, and then I'd be like, well, that must suck ass. So I would look for things that were culturally accepted, and it was everything I didn't like. You know what I mean? It was none of the music I liked. It was none of the fucking books I liked. It was none of the. I got my comic. Oh yeah. It was none of the fucking books I liked. I'm proud that all of those things were in arm's reach. I'm very proud all those things were. And then we're playing all the nerd games and shit. You know, it's that I was running from it my whole life. I was a nerd. I was a closeted nerd. I was in the closet, guys, as a nerd. And yeah, man, I finally embraced that, and I'm living a true life. But no, that's why it's funny. That's literally why it's hard for me to focus. It's always been hard for me to focus on books. Like, just sitting down to read a book is a stressful experience for me because I have this voice in my head that is this. I have this voice in my head that are like, books are gay. What are you doing? So like, it's literally it's a huge reason. I'm sure you guys are laughing at this, which is fair. But like, it's a legit reason why to this day it's hard for me to just sit down with a book, because every time I do, that dude shows up. And I think I've been good at getting rid of it. But like, that dude shows up and he's like, "Oh, you fucking read books? You read gay ass books?" And it's just from years. It's from years of just living a lie, acting like I'm not a fucking dork. Or no, I'm not a dork. Dorks are the evil ones. I'm one of the good. I don't know why I reframed it. Dorks are the evil ones. I should clarify that. Dorks are the nerds that use their because nerds are into like weird shit, or not even weird shit per se. Nerds are into shit that's like not popular and they don't care about it. Dorks are into some of that shit, but they're also, because the thing, nerds are smart. Dorks are stupid and evil. That's where people get fucked up. So it's like they might be into some of the nerd shit, but they're the type of people, and I noticed it firsthand back in the day when we would do open mics, and there was this one open mic in Lancaster that was run by a bunch of dorks. And they were all sort of like, weak dudes that weren't taken seriously. But then when it came time to the open mic and they had power, they had a small amount of power over you to control the open mic, they would just act like absolute shithead tyrants. And that's the thing. It's similar to, and this is a good way to segue into talking about a little bit of politics today. Let me pull up the tweet, because I saw this one tweet that represents this perfectly. Myself is the only thing I can be, and I respect that, Dunbar. And it's what I always try to. I try to say it to myself every goddamn day. Where's the fucking post? Oh yeah, right here. So Gavin McGinnis was going a little viral for this one. Gavin McGinnis, a dude I used to fuck with heavily. I still have a little bit of I don't know. I don't hate the guy. He's just not for me anymore, you know what I mean? And it's not even like, you guys know how I feel about, well, I did lose a little bit of respect for him with the Proud Boys stuff. And not even like, because Gavin's always the dude who's like he always came off to me as the guy who wasn't just a full-blown racist. He was the guy who just didn't have I'm a dog driving a car. That's who I am. That's me being myself, is a dog in a suit driving a car. No, Gavin, because Gavin, like, I completely get why people were like, he's a huge racist. He more came off to me as a guy who was like, not afraid of being offensive. I don't think when it came down to it, he would ever be like, "Oh, I don't like A, B, and C race," but he was very, to put mildly, very politically incorrect with the way of it. He wasn't worried about sounding like a dickhead. I think that was a big thing about him. So I liked him at first. I thought he was interesting, and then he just kind of came off. He would just come off as like a little bit of a cornball from time to time for me, and it would be because of stuff like this, where yeah. So going back to like, and this is kind of like my problem right now with the Republicans right now, especially post Jimmy Kimmel and shit like that. Is oops, I'm back pressing grapes today. Are you going to be like that fat lady who fell and he's just like, but no. So this is like, so I'll just play this clip of Gavin real quick and then we'll talk about it.
What we did in canceling Jimmy Kimmel is hypocritical. We talk about free speech, and then when someone says something we don't like, we cancel them. It's not consistent with our values. And I don't give a fuck. Fuck you. You kicked me in the balls, I gouge out your fucking eyes. I'm not doing some Dave Portnoy explanation on why this is consistent. It's hypocritical. We're hypocritical. This is a fucking war. Fuck you. You got me fired, I get you fired. It's like I say to my daughter's boyfriend, you make her cry, I make you cry. We're making you cry now, motherfuckers. This is who post.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, I'll let him finish out.
Molly Jimmy needs to suffer, and we're making him fucking suffer, and we're going to make them all suffer. The gloves are off. We're hypocrites now. You made your bed. You're fucking lying in it. And other colloquialisms such as that.
Yeah, and that stuff to me is just like cornball shit. Yeah, Dunbar has a good comment that's kind of correlating to what I was getting to. Why is it a war? That's the thing where he's like, I say this to my daughter's boyfriend. You hit her, I hit you. We're in a war right now. And it's like, I mean, I guess, yeah, I'm sure to a degree, because I will say this, it's why I always thought that the term InfoWars is such a good title for that whole establishment, or just a good title in general, because like people always go, they'll always shit on the concept of just being informed. And from what I've realized, like, yeah, obviously there's a huge disconnect between what the people want and what the government does. But the government does, like, they still need for, because they don't want to just be outwardly authoritarian and dictatorial and shit like that. So they have to have some sense of, we're letting them do it, so there is a thing of like, if you can control, because that's why they do so much propaganda. So there is a thing of like, if you can control what the population thinks, you can control what the government gets to get away with. So, sorry, chat's distracting. I want to try to get this out, but I will read the chat when I'm done getting this out. So like, a lot of times people will see like, oh, we're just fucking, we're just nerds, we're just dorks arguing about this shit on the internet, doing our little gay podcast, which is true. We're doing our little gay podcast. But there is a thing, and it's why the title InfoWars is so great, because it's like, if you can control the narrative, if you can control people, like how people perceive things, there's so much more that you can do with that, so like, it's shit like, just look at something like abortion. If you just figure out a way, you make whether it's propaganda or the best argument in the world, and now boom, the whole country just agrees the moment of conception, the moment of conception, that's a baby, that's alive. Like, if you 1 hour, 1 week, 1 month, you killed something. If you try to do anything, if you try to legalize abortion, do anything, the people are going to fucking riot. If you find out if people find out you're doing abortions, they're gonna fucking riot. Your head's gonna be on a spike. You know what I mean? So like, it doesn't matter what law you pass. Like when COVID happened and they were like, you can't meet, and then all the Hasids were outside just vibing out. They're like, no, this is what we believe. It doesn't matter what human law you have. It doesn't outweigh God's law. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you just have a core belief like that, it doesn't matter what fucking law they make. People will go die for that. So it's why I get why, talking like this is such a big deal and everything like that, because it can have so much weight with it. But like, this whole thing of Gavin being like, we're in a war. Like, I get what he's saying to a degree. I get what he's saying, but, and it's like, you could make the argument like, oh, we're in a war because, like if you lose the culture war, now, you might have a sterilized kid who cut their dick off, things like that. Like, so I get it from that standpoint, but there is an element. So I will, I will give Gavin a little bit more, credit than I may have originally, because I did post a tweet where I was shitting on him, but I think the tweet still holds up, because the other point I'm trying to make too is like, so I will acknowledge there is a sense of like, if it is important, it's much like arguing over this shit and agreeing on what's true is much more of a bigger deal and important thing than people realize. But at the same time, and this is a big thing of the right and conservatives and stuff like that, and this is a big thing that right-wing people and conservatives have to remember and focus on, is a big thing they like to do is act morally superior to the left-wing people. So if your whole thing is, we're going to be as fucking gay and retarded as you guys, I'm not going to look at you as any bit better than the left. I'm just looking at like, okay. You know how for the longest time, if people on the left, you disagreed with them slightly, they'd come for your fucking throat. Well, turns out the right wing is just like that. And it's it's like, it's going into the, what the fuck? There's that like, the woke right debate. And it's like, yeah, it's like, honestly, you're also putting a nail in the coffin of that argument, where if you're outwardly saying like, we'll just act exactly like, we'll literally do the exact same thing to the left, then you're going like, well, I'm going to be a gay woke retard as well. And then also too, like, because this right here too is the big problem of why nothing ever gets solved, is because everyone's just looking for, everyone, dude, I don't know what the fuck it is. And I might be like overthinking this, but it's one of my best abilities. It's why I'm good at fucking yapping into microphones for multiple hours every week. But like, also, fuck, god damn it, I was losing my train of thought because my wife sent me a fuck ton of texts about something crazy going on, and I meant to look at them a second ago. What was I saying? Shit. Yeah, it doesn't make you any bit better. Da da da. Oh, that's what I was saying with cause I don't know. I look at this stuff and I just go like, why are we doing this? Is it just so? Like, if you're going to sit down every day and yap behind a microphone, is it like, why are you not trying to solve problems? And it's like, you're whatever you are, 87, Gavin, however old are you? I'm being nasty. But no, for real, I'm fucking 35. He's probably 50 something. And it's like, are you trying to solve problems, or are you just like, I don't know. I don't know how that feels good. You know what I mean? Especially when that shit's been done to you 1,000 times, and now you're just going like, no, I guess, I don't know. It's hard with Gavin too, because it's like, he's had all this shit done, so I get why there's this fire in his belly. But it is like, to be fair, you are also like a gay dork about shit a lot of times. And it's like, while while I do, it's this thing where it's like, yeah, freedom of speech, all this and that, but you understand, like, it's like it's similar to the thing of like when you see people getting fired because they were celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. You're like, yeah, freedom of speech, but also people probably just found out you're a fucking shitty person, and you're like, oh, I don't want people working for me who celebrate people's death. And it's like, I've heard good things about Gavin. I don't know him personally, but it's like, you gotta, like, he might be a chill guy. I'm sure Gavin's fun as fuck when you go out to drink with him. That I can guarantee. I've heard stories. He sounds like he's fun as fuck to go out to drinking with him. But also at the same time, it's like, dude, you come off like a fucking dickhead. It's the same thing with all the New Hampshire, libertarian New Hampshire people. Free State Project. I love it. I love the concept. I actually think it's a pretty good strategy. You know what I mean? Because it's like, you look how some of these people in this country behave. You're like, I don't know if we can live with you guys. So it's like the peaceful separation. I can get on board with that. I don't know if it's not the perfect thing for everyone, but it's definitely a thing to try. But then you hear people from LPNH bitch about stuff, and it's like, yeah, but like, right or wrong, you guys know you come off like dickheads, and then they'll be like, yeah, well, we're just doing it to get eyes on us. And it's like, sure. But like, you can't be shocked when people talk to you like you suck ass, because you guys act like fucking pussies, or not pussies, but like, you guys just, and I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm just trying to say it how I like. I'm just trying to call balls and strikes, boys and girls. But it's like, it's with any of these fucking people. It's like, you just act in a way that's annoying to be around. You know what I mean? Like, you don't come to a party and make it better. You come and you go, oh, that guy's probably going to be fucking gay about something later. You know what I mean? Like, so there is that element of it. It's like, freedom of speech is good. You also have to not suck ass. You know what I mean? And now, but like, but then they're going to say like, well, they fucking sucked ass. It's like, yeah, but if you have been having the moral high ground, I'm talking like a fucking idiot. If you've had the moral high ground this whole time, and now you're outwardly going, we're going to be as gay as they were, then you got to shut the fuck up about being better than anyone else. You're a pig and shit now. And I'm the farmer. And I'm going to need to cut you open for some bacon. I don't know. That didn't make it. I don't mean that. But for real, though. For real. If you want to be a pig and shit, be a pig and shit, but stop expecting people to treat you like you're the fucking farmer. I don't, this analogy has gone out the window. Where's what's his face? This is a bad analogy. But yeah, it's like people are losing the plot and just falling into the character they've made up for themselves. And that's the thing, going back to what I was saying earlier, if we're actually going to make things better, someone, and I think I'm a good person to do it, has to be the bigger man. But for real though, like, that's how you solve problems. Someone has to suck it up and apologize and be like, yeah, where's James? Because at that time he would have loved to be here. That was not a good analogy. But no, like, for real, like, I think everyone should have freedom of speech, freedom of association. But like, I don't know, if I'm going to get lunch and I find out that the deli I'm at is owned by Nazis, they could have the best fucking sandwiches. I'm not eating there. I don't want to support that. If I find out the deli's owned by Black Israelites, that one I might go into. I do want to hear them. They are very entertaining, even though they hate me and want me to die. Although I think that's even a little bit of a rude. Every time they go on and on about how awful white people are. But then they're so nice and inviting to them. They're bad at being racist. But no, like, with any example, if I walk in, I see some Antifa bullshit and and it's not a cup of coffee. It's not a cup of coffee. I'm not going in there. You know what I mean? It's not a vegan bakery. I will go to an Antifa vegan bakery. I will definitely do that. They know. Antifa knows their way around a pastry, without a doubt. Now, if it's, Antifa personal liability insurance, absolutely not. Excuse me. Yeah, that's the thing. I listen to the Free States podcast. They're annoying as hell. Yes, on paper, I genuinely love the idea. I think it's like what they say. I think it's a good idea. But like, I'm not gonna mince words when we're having conversations like this. A lot of people associated with the Free State Project are fucking annoying and they alienate people. And I'm not trying to be a jerk. That's just the reality. Because they always act like it's like it's like they run it. It's and almost literally, because I know they've tweeted fucked up shit like this, but it's the equivalent of running into a room screaming the N-word and going like, why is everyone mad? Well, I don't know, man. You did the thing that bums us out. Bums us ass. Yeah, it definitely wouldn't be a kosher deli with the Nazis. Yeah, you know what? You're right. Damn, Slav, that's a good point. A deli run by Black Israelites and Nazis wouldn't go too hard. What a whiny, what a whiny douche. All of them. Dirty Canuck. Yeah, that is a thing when I get, when I'm feeling a little more xenophobic, you're always just like, a lot of foreigners talking about our politics. But that's just when you're feeling emotional. Yeah, these people love retribution and revenge, which is like, fine. You don't get to be taken seriously though. You know what I mean? Fly, get out of here, fly. You know what I mean? It's like, if you're freely talk, because Dave Smith had a really interesting episode. I don't know if I 100% agree with him, but I think I agree with him on a lot of it. He just put out episode talking about the Jimmy Kimmel thing. And I haven't looked at it this way, so I think I agree with him. Like, after listening to it, I'm like, I agree with you on all this conceptually. I haven't thought enough to say, like, do I agree it applies to Jimmy Kimmel? But I feel like I will, because he was making a decent argument. I think the only so he was making this argument basically saying, like, freedom of speech comedian Jimmy Kimmel, he's been an apparatus of the state, a propagandist for the state for a while. So it's like, to me, he just looks like the arm. He looks like the arm of the intelligence agencies. And this is like, with the FCC attacking them and stuff, this just feels like a squabble between two sects inside of a bigger gang. And, I think my problem, it's not even that I'm saying Dave is wrong. What's hard for me on these subjects is going like, who's to say? But so there are scenarios where you could use this to discount someone. But when it comes to Kimmel, it's like Dave makes a really good argument. So while part of me doesn't know if I agree with him 100%, I definitely agree with him 95%. So I hear where he's coming from, and I think he's on point. But yeah, the fuck was I trying to say? Shit. No, that's kind of the thing where it's like, people like me try to work real hard to be, thoughtful commentators and figure this stuff out. And then when, someone like Gavin, who he has a lot of fan base, so it's not a matter of whether I like him or not. It's a matter of if he gets people to watch him or not. But just know, if this is your deal, then like, we don't have to take you seriously. If you're telling us I'm going to act like a retarded progressive liberal, then you might get treated like one. So that's all I'm trying to say. But if you're someone in the business of solving problems, then I'll take you seriously. Kimmel doesn't speak through a free speech medium. He's on TV where words are controlled. Yeah. I thought they were supposed to turn the other cheek. Kimmel wasn't arrested for his words. Kimmel wasn't arrested. His show I don't even know if his show got taken off air. It got suspended. I even said, no, I was sick. I posted this rant on my TikTok, and then TikTok banned it, but then I fucking appealed it, and they were like, you're right. I haven't had that one before. What's this? Turn the other cheek is to expose the true intentions of others. Most people are right-handed, so if you turn the other cheek, they will be inconvenienced that they will have go what that they will have go lefty, showing their true aggression. I also too like I'm not saying because this is a thing where people get fucked up with like libertarians, where they always act like people hear what I just said and they think like, you have to be because it's why they like to use the we're in a war, we're in a fight talk so they can excuse their retarded logic or their more authoritarian, aggressive, unnecessarily aggressive logic. Because it's not a problem to be aggressive. It's not a problem to get into a fight. It's just it's like with libertarianism, with like the self-defense shit. Because people think like, oh, you just take the abuse. You're like, no, you're allowed to fight back and protect yourself when it's necessary. But like, when you're not allowed to just start a fight because you disagree with someone. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so it's not, people get with pacifists or libertarians or whatever, they get confused and think like, oh, you just get abused. It's like, no, it's honestly more like, no, we just have better self-control than you guys. It's like, I'll fuck shit up if need be. It's just, you're a hothead that goes to violence way too quickly. Like, honestly, being a libertarian, a big part of that is learning to control your emotions. And I understand I scream a lot on podcasts, so maybe I'm not a great libertarian, but like legitimately, like, that's it's just saying you're once again like a liberal, like or like there's a lot of great liberals. I don't even think it's like I think the ultra progressives are creating a much bigger gap between them and actual liberals now. But yeah, it's like, no, you're just you're just on there comparing yourself to pussy progressives. So you're letting us know you're okay. So you're on par with a emotional progressive non-binary white lady in college. That's what you're saying. It kind of feels like what you said. So my bad if you get treated that way. You know what I mean? So yeah. Most people don't understand what freedom of speech actually means. Yeah. Now the FCC won't let Jim B shut the fucker down on AD shit. Get it, Dunbar. Hey, Tiny Hippo, what's up? I'd rather be in a whore than a war. Ain't that the truth, brother? Yeah, there was some Candace Owens shit I was yapping about. I'm trying to see if I saved some bookmarks. I've been tweeting a lot. Again, guys, sorry if you loved how hilarious my tweets have been. Sorry if you've been loving how hilarious my tweets were. Now I'm a very serious political commentator. Let me my wife was sending me frantic texts and I've been ignoring them. Let me throw something on real quick so I can respond to my wife. YouTube, give me something for the people. Give me something for the people. YouTube, let me show the people something good. God, I'm getting really tired of that, Brian. I'm not trying to be nasty. I love Brian Grimm from Breaking Points. I love everyone at Breaking Points. Brian Grimm, stop being such a gay progressive. Oh, I know a good one. I know a good YouTube channel to bring up. Brian Grimm. I love Breaking Points so much. Brian Grimm has to calm down though. I don't know. It just comes off so like the ultra lefty progressive thing for a dude. It just comes off so feminine, and and then when you have this like feminine energy, it's why people like Destiny are so infuriating. Because they just come off with such like feminine energy, and they're screaming the stupidest shit at you. and they're screaming at you like they want to fight. Like that's a thing. That's the thing I accept because I know how I talk. So it's like it's actually shocking why more people haven't tried to fight me because I've earned it. I've earned the violence brought towards me. But like I also am prepared for someone to want to assault me because I know sometimes I act like a spaz and I bring it upon myself. It's these like ultra progressives that the way that they talk, they're like it's like they're looking for a fight and you know they're not. And you're like, why are you talking like this? You're not looking for a fight. Why aren't you more polite about things? You know what I mean? And it's like, I got to be honest. I don't want any of them to get beat up, but if they get beat up, I don't know why we would have too much sympathy for them. They shouldn't. You shouldn't. You should be able to just talk. But it's like if I saw a video where it was like Destiny got guys so mad he beat him up, I'd be like, that makes sense. I wish it wouldn't happen. But he'd be like, the way he talks is crazy. He talks crazy to people. Now, I'm not trying to sound, I know I'm sounding like one of the people were saying that about Charlie Kirk. I'm not trying to be like that. I apologize. Because you shouldn't fight Destiny. It's just like, I'm shocked no one has yet. I'm not saying they should. You shouldn't. But people were saying that about, I saw a comedian saying that about Charlie Kirk where it's like, but are you surprised? He kind of had it coming. I go, did he? Really? If you say milquetoast conservative shit, if you say milquetoast 05 conservative shit, that means you're not surprised someone got assassinated? Are you that radicalized, you fucking weirdo? So hopefully I'm not coming off like that. I apologize if I am. Here, let me play this real quick because I actually did want to watch some of this dude's videos. Here we go. A little shooter stuff.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language. I'm from the government and I'm here to help. And here's what the government is telling us, that Tyler James Robinson, and Tyler alone, is responsible for causing the death of Charlie Kirk. From the official indictment on September 10th, 2025, the roommate received a text message from Robinson which said, quote, "Drop what you are doing, look under my keyboard." The roommate looked under the keyboard and found a note that said, quote, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I'm gonna take it." Police found a photograph of this note. That note, by the way, has somehow since been destroyed, conveniently. Okay, here's the rest of the text exchange that took place. After reading the note, the roommate responded, "What? You're joking, right?" Robinson: "I am still okay, my love, but I am stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this a secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you." Well, so that explains why the rifle was left in the woods, conveniently. The roommate responded, "You weren't the only one who did it, right?" Robinson: "I am. I'm sorry." Well, there it is. Lone gunman theory confirmed. Roommate, "I thought they caught the person." Robinson: "No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering." Roommate: "Why?" Robinson: "Why did I do it?" Roommate: "Yeah." Robinson: "I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it." Okay, so there you go. You have now a motive. Roommate: "How long have you been planning this?" Robinson: "A bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there is a squad car parked right by it. I think they've already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it." All right, so now we have premeditation, conveniently again. Robinson: "I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got back to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. IDK if it had a serial number, but I wouldn't trace it to me. I worry about prints. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it, and I hope they don't find prints. How the fuck will I explain losing it to my old man? Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The fucking messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices bulge UWU on Fox News, I might have a stroke. All right, I'm gonna have to leave it. That really fucking sucks." So there you go. Perfect. All the loose ends are tied up. Why the gun was left in the woods, the engravings on the shell.
All right, sorry about that. I didn't realize it was him talking about the. I've heard the text message thing so many times. If you guys haven't, please watch it on your own. I have not, or I have. I don't need to hear the text messages another fucking time. I'm not like. Excuse me. I'm not 1,000% convinced they're fake, but I'm also not surprised. I gotta go over them again. Well, I guess I could have there. No, I mean, it's not like when you hear them, because people were. This is what you gotta like do in these scenarios. Is not like hyper anal. Like a lot of people do. A lot of people look for all the symbolism, which I've said before. I don't know if I get like bogged down in the symbolism, because there are people who go, the symbolism will be their downfall, which I don't know, because like you can't prove anything outside of that's weird with the symbolism. You know what I mean? You can't prove that out. You can't really prove stuff outside of that's fucking weird. You know how like Slav points it out, how like 33 pops up all the time. You know, but like a lot of those you're just like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I will say with like the Pizzagate stuff, a lot of that stuff felt a little bit more egregious. It's when like, you know, you go and they show where Charlie Kirk got shot and they say it looks like a menorah. It's the same shape. You're like, I don't know. I don't know. But when you're in emails going, we need 60,000 hot dogs and slices of pizza in the middle of the night, you're like, that is fucking weird, you know? So it's like, I'm not saying it's nothing. I just try not to hyper fixate on it if it's not. I let it be stuff that really like pops out as like noticeably weird. You know, because like I said, with the fucking shooting site looking like a menorah, I'm like, are you telling me? Because like if that's relevant, then that means okay, so because it needed to be a ritual, they shot him there. And it's like, well, they were still gonna shoot him. You know, it's just they waited till then. So they're still going to do it. It's just they decided to do it. They decided to do it with their little flair, you know, because they're weird gay Satanists or something. You know what I mean? So, like, that's why, while I don't shy away from the symbolism, because, like I said, with Pizzagate and stuff, it seems very relevant, I don't get bogged down in it. Because I think it's like all the shit they're going to do, if they're doing this high level conspiracy shit, they're going to do it regardless. If, you know, where he's at is in a pentagram and it looks like a menorah. They're going to do it. They're going to hope it's on top of a pentagram or a pentagon or whatever. They're going to hope, but they're probably still going to do it. So that's why I don't get bogged down the symbolism. Now, and then on top of that, like, you know, it's like when people go, when people hear 911 audio, 911 calls, and they'll be like, listen to his tone. He's clearly not upset. And it's like, I don't know, man. I mean, when things get very, very hectic and you're like, oh, we need to solve this problem right fucking now or shit's going to get really bad. I know for me, I have a tendency to like lock in and come off as very calm depending on the situation. So like, I don't know, dude, if there was some crazy if I had to call 911 to get some shit done, I might come off overly calm. So when it goes to the text messages and they're like, my love, which by the way, I've known a couple cornball couples that refer to each other as my love. And it's those like try hard couples that they love each other, but you know, it's like, it could be over in a second. So they like overdo it on the my love and the poetic nature of the way they talk and shit like that, because it's like, oh, this is all in a house of cards. So it's like when I see stuff like, fuck, now I got myself bringing up these fucking text messages. Because it's like when you see stuff like my love, that doesn't hit me Why is it not coming up? Oh, because I pulled up a fucking website. Yeah, I gotta get an ad blocker. What were you saying? Fuck you, Andy. My lady says my love to me. Well, that's because you guys don't actually love each other. You heard it here first. Your love is on a house of cards. Now, I just I was friends with some people who are very like performative. And it's like, I don't know, it just comes off that way of like, oh, you guys are on rocky footing. Where are the text messages? Oh shit, this just came out. This is interesting. Dude, the fucking ad blockers on these websites. When did this come out? Yeah, why do these fucking webs just upload your shit on YouTube and embed it into your fucking website? Though it doesn't have to be a fucking I don't want to watch something on your media player. You fucking pieces of shit. Oh shit. I'm sorry, guys. This is the AI tool. Here we go. There we go. There's the there was an article I read before that was just the standard full transcript. Yeah, some of this stuff, like the actual wording, like I know people were pointing out, they were saying like, oh, he said the word vehicle. Hey, Germ, how you doing, brother? What up, Germ? People were pointing out like he said the word vehicle and things like that. And I go, yeah, that is weird. I'm not going to spend a lot of time ruminating on that because it's like also, I think the roommate is the roommate is definitely the roommate in these text messages. I think if anyone's a Fed, it's Tyler's end. And I think that's how they kind of like, that's also a way, you know, you can help cover for it and take out and have less, what am I trying to say? Have less cooks in the kitchen on this. Because I bet you, if anyone's a Fed in this, it's Tyler Robinson. It's whoever's has Tyler Robinson's phone. But yeah, drop what you're doing. Look under my keyboard. I am still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle. So it's like reading through, and I'll post this if you guys wanna look for it. If you guys want to look through it. But like, so for me, with all these text messages, with my love, with all this other shit, it's like I'm not getting like bogged down in the wording of shit. Maybe I should, but I'm not getting like bogged down in the wording because I don't know this fucking kid. He wants to fucking shoots Charlie Kirk in the head. He probably talks weird. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not gonna get bogged down with that shit. What I am gonna get bogged down with is the fact that everything he said every single thing that would help the cops create a timeline to indict him, to arrest him and shit. Like, he gives them all the key info on every major step of this. You know what I mean? And it's like, we were doing the stream. We were doing starting my day with a joint in the show. Good man, Germ. We were doing the stream the other day. I forget who it was, but one dude in the chat was saying like, oh, someone killed two of my friends, and they texted about the whole thing. So it's like, and I hear you on that. I watch some of these murder documentaries. You can't believe how stupid some people just get caught because of how fucking stupid they are. But you're telling me through every bit of what this guy, for every text he sent his girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever you want to say, for every text he sent his significant other, you're telling me he revealed all key info. And then on top of that, you're telling me he revealed all key info that's going to give them enough, what's the fucking word I'm looking for? That's going to give them enough of, it's just him admitting to it, admitting guilt, a confession. It's good. He's giving every bit of it, giving a full confession of what he did. And then on top of that, in the text, he's going, make sure you delete all this. So he's aware that, like, you know, I mean, he's one of the, now, apparently the shot he took isn't hard, but you still need to know how to shoot a gun. But I've been seeing a lot of people say is like the disassembling of it and shit is fucking impossible. So he does need to be a trained marksman on that shit. But this guy's also not, you're telling me he's not smart enough to not confess to everything via text message? Seems crazy to me. That part seems crazy to me. Wouldn't be surprised if they let that kid Tyler kid die somehow in custody. Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. Like, I mean, you saw it with Luigi. They like all of these ones that are weird. They don't let them fucking talk. And I'd be very intrigued. I had this theory, and I have no idea if it's true or worthwhile or anything like that. But I was just wondering, like, how many of these things happen where someone dies and it's weird as shit? How many of them happen in a state that has the death penalty? I don't know if that's like I don't know if I'm like, because you guys know what I'm implying. Because like that was like the big fuck up with states with the death penalty. Because that was like the huge fuck up with Timothy McVeigh in Oklahoma City. Oh shit, there's a website called the Death Penalty Information Center. Here, let me pull up Grok. Just get a clear list of it. Give me a list of every state with the death penalty. I can't type. This also too. Actually, I'll show you the screen because I bet you Grok will just do a whole like, all right, looky here. Seems like you want to list. It's like, just give me the fucking list. Like, I hate how whenever you want a list from Grok, you have to go, just give me a list. They're like, no, I would like to do a little whimsical intro to let you know or actually, no, he has to be like, yeah, all right. I get that, other based Keck warrior. Here we go. As of September 25th, 27 U.S. states authorize the death penalty by law. However, executions are currently possible in only 21 of these states due to gubernatorial moratoriums or other legal halts in the remaining 6. California, Oregon, and Pennsylvania have moratoriums. North Carolina, Ohio, and South Dakota have de facto moratoriums lasting over a decade with no executions scheduled. The federal government also retains the death penalty. Okay, so yeah, I don't know if this is like a big like, ooh, they make sure to do these in death penalty states, and it's like, well, almost half of them have it. Yo, South Carolina's got firing squad. Wait, this is actually interesting. So yeah, like, well, 27, but 21 if you count places in moratorium. So almost half the states in the nation have the death penalty. So yeah, it's not like a huge, but you still need to, if this is some CIA MK Ultra shit, you still need to plan which state you're doing it in. This is actually really interesting. Alabama active, executions ongoing, nitrogen hypoxia used. Arizona active, California authorized but under moratorium, Florida active, leading in 2025 executions. Jesus Christ. Georgia active, Idaho active, expanded to child rape in 20. Really? Wasn't there before? Huh. Actually. Yeah, that's a. I think I'm against the death penalty from a legal standpoint, but morally, getting that for child rape, I think I like that. You got Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, authorized but effectively inactive. Okay, authorized. Interesting. Cool. That's fun information. Yeah. So, yeah, that was like a theory I had. I had a feeling it wasn't gonna like. I had a feeling I wasn't gonna have an aha moment, but this is what happens when you're an investigative journalist like myself. You got to look into this stuff. I saw Ryan Dawson, very smart man, but he said you guys aren't detectives. Yes, I am Ryan Dawson. I'm a detective. I am. No one else has figured it out. That is funny to me too, though, when people like, and I like Ryan Dawson. I think the way he comes after Dave Smith is a little corny, but what are you gonna do? Where's the fucking tweet though? Oh yeah, he's got this here. Not every shooting. Ryan Dawson. He goes, not every shooting is JFK, and you're not a detective. Well, every shooting is when Han shot first in Star Wars, and yes, I am a detective, Ryan. But no, it is, I don't know. Well, it goes back to the thing I was saying where it's like like whenever you see comedians on podcasts where it's like, no one cares about your opinion. It's like, yeah, you were once a big dumb retard who no one cared about your opinion. You know what I mean? And I get it. It's like, if it's one thing if it's just randos complaining on the internet. Yeah, no one does care about their opinion. But, also, like I was kind of trying to get this to before, and I probably kept it moving onto better topics and stuff. But I've even been there before, like, well, the fucking comment I was joking about where I was like, we need to make sure to not take Pat seriously. He's a monster. His head will get too big. When I was joking about that, it was like the comment was accurate about, and they weren't being shitty. They weren't being shitty at all. Gotta go to work. Don't go to work. Nah, go to work. I'm not gonna be going long today, so you're not gonna miss much, Derek. I'll allow it. Go to work. No, but it was like the comment was right though. And I've had other comments where I've had other people comment where I go, all right, you're being a lot, but they're not wrong. Like I remember when I came back to Panties, people weren't used to me. And they were like, when Nate moved down here and I was off the show for a couple months because I was still in New Jersey. And then when I finally got down here, people weren't ready for me, and they were like, "This fucking guy sucks ass. He's so annoying. He's so fucking loud. He's talking over everyone." And it's like, yeah, did they tell me in kind of a mean way? Yeah. Were they wrong? No. So like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to fucking tell you. People are gonna fucking look into this. Maybe I don't know. This isn't directed at Ryan Dawson, but maybe you guys who are, because that's the other thing. It's like, Ryan Dawson, you were also just a fucking guy. You used to be a fucking guy, and then you got intrigued in this shit, and now you're this fucking guy. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the solution is, but yes, dude, I agree with you, Cell Rat. Fuck a man. You heard it here first, Cell Rat. Fuck a man. What other comments were you guys having? You fuck with Warhammer? Conceptually, yeah. I don't have the time or money to get into it though, but I have no objections to Warhammer. You guys coming at O'Connor? Chris O'Connor is a psychopath, but he's the fucking funniest, most interesting psychopath I've ever met. I love talking to O'Connor. He's so fascinating. And also, too, he does have some, like, really interesting... I don't always agree with him, but he has some very interesting thoughts on things. And I love his perspective on stuff. Can I make you a wiki page, Andy? If you want to. I don't know. Will that end badly for me? Can I make you a wiki page? I mean, you can only if you post a bunch of fake shit that makes me look cool. Don't make it real. My life's boring. Don't make it real. Post a bunch of fake shit so I look cool to people. So oh yeah, you guys were talking about the shooting. Well, that's the other thing too. It's like people. Oh, this is another thing I wanted to talk about today. Shout out to my boy Jose from the No Way Jose podcast, and Already Dead with my other boy. These are my favorite boys. I haven't met in person, but I've befriended them on the internet. But yeah, No Way Jose or Jose of the No Way Jose podcast, and Already Dead with Austin Wade Picard, who I think I might try to get him on again next week or whenever he's available, because I'm very interested in his perspective on this situation. Sorry, I'm adjusting my penis. It was going in. I need it out. Yeah, so this has been an interesting thing. Let me pull this off the screen for a second while I talk. But this has been an interesting thing. People have been, so going off this, Derek going like, every time I hear this, I believe it less, talking about those text messages from earlier. Cell Rat, so he planned this shooting and engraved all those bullets in about a week. Yeah, right. Also, the engraving of bullets. It's crazy how cringy and cornball our fucking shooters are getting. They're not even like fun. You know what I mean? Like everyone in government's authoritarian and a fascist, but they also are like retarded and cringe, and it's like it's not even like fun fascism. You know what I mean? Like you look back at the Nazis and Mussolini and all those guys. They had at least had like cool outfits and were eloquent. These guys are just fucking retarded and gay. It's more than deciding if the text messages are fake, but they're probably not fake. Yeah, I don't know. Well, with the text messages, the big thing with them is like, and I know, yeah, I'm glad you got that reference, Germ. I am a big Keck warrior. Hell yeah, Derek, be about it. O'Connor is a different version of McCusker. I don't know about that. Him and McCusker have a different, because O'Connor's he's a dark entity that laughs his way through it, and then McCusker has more. That's why he's called the shaman. He has more mysticism to him. O'Connor would be just like a salty dock worker getting drunk at the bar and then going off to sea and then stuff like that. But he just happened to be born in Connecticut, so he's whatever the liberal version of that is. McCusker seems like he got reincarnated from some dude who used to be like a wizard or something. But he's pretty sure. Like McCusker seems like he's pretty sure he was a wizard in another life, but he's not sure. The gay engraving was a little fun. It was a little fun. What do you think would be a solid bullet engraving? I don't know. Each bullet is one letter of the N-word. It's just like a text chain in a live stream chat. That's what the bullet is. Oh, so yeah, going off of like, people who are like the text messages are fake, and someone was saying, what was the specific comment? Where was it? Oh yeah. It's more exciting if the text messages are fake, but they're probably not fake. Yeah. So like, yeah, going off that, it's kind of a thing like Jose was tweeting about, and a thing I've been saying where a lot of people like, don't get me wrong. When it first happened, well, when the second I saw the video, I was like, this feels like a planned operation. And I know my bias. You know what I mean? So that, and I'm very aware of it. So whenever I think that, I always try to catch myself, because I go, obviously you're going to think that. So I try to catch myself, and I didn't get ahead of myself, but I think and honestly too, at this point, I'll definitely keep the Israeli option open because I got to be honest, like there's motivation. I just don't think there's not a lot of evidence, and some of the motivation might be a little bit too elaborate. Like there is motivation, but when you go through the ABC of it, it's a little bit elaborate. But if we're being perfectly honest, like if you just look like the timeline. Like I don't think Israel planned that. If Israel did it, I don't think they planned it for a while. But if you just look at the timeline, it could seem like an impulsive thing they did that they didn't fully like think out the future of. Because if you look how they've like, I'll be honest, the day it happens, blaming Israel was more of like a funny joke to say just because of how Israel is. But if you look how it happened, if you look what's happened afterwards, where like 2 days after it, 2 or 3 days after it happens, fucking all the Zionist shills from the Daily Wire. I'm grabbing my water. All the shills from the Daily Wire are just doing his show. You know what I mean? And then Glenn Beck. And I will say, I think Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly were on there. That was probably for more appearance sake because of how big they are. And they can't because like Candace Owens is a little bit of she's a hot tamale the way she is, if I can say so myself. Like, so it's easy and a lot more people. Well, it's weird because like I was looking up the numbers. And like all these people who are like Candace Owens retarded, everyone thinks you're fucking crazy and mentally ill. It's like, I don't know, man. Watch the numbers. Cause like if you go by the numbers, I would say people are way more on Candace's side. People are way more on Candace's side than the other guys. Because even Ben Shapiro's got more. I was looking on their YouTube channels. I'm looking up on their podcasts right now. But if you look up on their YouTube channels, Ben Shapiro's got about 2-3 more million than her. And I mean, he doesn't even get half. He doesn't even get half the views she does. Well, on the more recent episodes, he probably got half before Charlie Kirk's assassination. But it's just this is way more. People are way more interested in this shit. But yeah, literally, I just pulled up top podcasts on Spotify. Joe Rogan, obviously. Amy Poehler, good for her. Theo Vaughn. New York Times Daily, which I think I'm actually going to subscribe to the Daily because I think that does give you a good, quick. Oh, wait, no, that one sucks ass. That's not good. Never mind. I thought there's some podcasts on here that they literally just give you a quick rundown of the main stories for the week. But yeah. Number 5 is Tucker Carlson. Number 7 is Candace Owens. And number 11 is Charlie Kirk. And Ben Shapiro's 22. Still really good, but Ben Shapiro's 22. Now, this could be an off week. And now, to be fair, Megyn Kelly's 35. I don't know where Matt Walsh is. But yeah, we have PBD, who... He's 43. Does he jump up to top 10 on a good week like Candace Owens? I don't think so. But he's going here being like, Candace Owens is out of touch. No one likes her. Da, da, da. It's like, really, Pat? Feels like they like her a lot more than you. I'm trying to see where Matt Walsh is. Now, to be fair, part of the problem is at 58. But, so this isn't a perfect metric. Breaking points is at 75. I wonder what the but you know what I'm saying is like, I guess what I'm trying to say. So it's not a perfect metric. And I guess to even be fair, it's like, Dave Smith's really popular, but I wouldn't say what he has to say is indicative of a mass of society. I think Dave's more of an entity that people go like, I don't know if I agree with this guy, but he's interesting and he's and he makes me think. So let me see what this guy's talking about. Yeah, it's hard to tell what is and what isn't because now I'm on I'm on the iTunes podcast app. And if you go to new episodes, the new Joe Rogan is at 7, the Megyn Kelly's at 9, and the new Ben Shapiro one's at 11 and 15. And then Candace Owens is at 18. So it's not like I'm not using this as hard evidence of anything. I'm just saying, like, they're trying to categorize Candace Owens as like an insane person who's just saying wild theories that no one agrees with. And it's like, she's doing way better than a lot of you guys in certain avenues. And if she's not doing better, she's doing as good as all of you guys, but she's doing a lot better than a lot of you guys. So like, yeah, like that's a big part of the thing. I think now is the move on Candace Owens. I think they're going for like some character assassination, like they were trying to do to Michael Jackson after he was trying to, I really think they're trying to do a thing like that. Cause it's like, I've been on, you know me, I'm on Twitter way too fucking much. Some would say an embarrassing amount. And, I love a good paragraph of, I will say this. I don't think I'm gonna, if I could make money off of my Twitter, I might pay for it just because it's like, if I'm tweeting all day, I might as well make a little ad revenue. It's not gonna make me do clickbait or anything like that. But it's like, if I'm spending all this time fucking tweeting and I can make a couple bucks, so I might do that. But I will say not having having a Twitter limit is good for me because it makes me concise and specific. I don't think going past the 140 is good for people. I think they should take away the Twitter limit. I think it was better when we only had 140 because Twitter's not the place for like long form discussions. Maybe like, I don't know. Sometimes people, if you want to post a thread, you get more than 140. Those ones are good. But I don't know. This like the political discourse. It's like when Candace Owens was going back and forth with Bill Ackman. You open it up and Bill Ackman posts like a fucking like a news article worth of text, and you're like, "What the fuck, Bill? Get to the fucking point." So like, and the reason I go to Candace Owens is Candace Owens is saying a lot of the shit people like me are saying, and people are trying to act like she's being reckless or crazy, and but like she's doing the same shit I'm doing, where it's like. She hasn't, like, yeah, is she a little bit, the worst you could say about Candace Owens, and I should also update my thing because I was laughing, the fucking stream I did on Thursday, I was kind of going off about Patrick Bet-David, and I was like, what's she wrong about? Then I saw this stuff about Bridget McCrone, which I trust Candace. I haven't watched her Bridget is a Man series yet. I trust Candace because while she comes off as flippant and she kind of comes off as a little bit of a bitch, which I personally don't care, and I kind of fucking love when you see people like this where it's like they're not being bitchy, they're just kind of being forceful and shit, but not over talking like someone like Gavin was doing and shit. I don't mind it, but like I should have clarified. I go, but also here's the thing, like. If you look at her reputation is like a big thing helping her out. And it's just the thing I'm looking at. I just go like, well, would she really be this flippant if she was wrong about the Bridget thing? But that's also just a big swing for me in the definitive way. Because there's part of you going like, is she banking on the fact that it'll never actually come out and there won't be actually like short of her just showing us her pussy, it'll never actually come out. Like, how would you actually prove it? You could still deny it. So I should have probably put a clarifier. It's like, well, maybe let's wait on the Bridget thing because that might hurt her credibility. But for real though, like outside of that, the Bridget one does come off as wild, but I also haven't dug into the info, and I've heard her talk about it on one or two shows, and it is fucking weird. I think it's a lot to be like, yeah, she's definitely a man. I mean, that's a bold swing on Candace's part. But to be fair, outside of that, take away the fact that she's kind of a bitch. You don't like her tone. I don't know if you got a lot on her for like being wrong. But yeah, but even on that, it's like, yeah, does she kind of, I'll even give it to you. Does she heavily imply what she thinks to be true in the way she talks? Sure, but you know, you don't you can't get her, she does she always leaves the caveat of allegedly or we don't know or all that. And it's like the same thing people like me are doing where going back to like the Israel shit. Like I said, now at the time, like I'll put it this way. Obviously, we didn't have any proof Israel did it. But like there's a reason that the day it happened, people made Israel jokes and they were funny because there's some truth behind it. Because it's like, day one, if you just put your chips on the table, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if Israel is going to be the best bet, but you might take those numbers depending on the depending on the odds. You're like, oh shit, only plus minus 3. All right, I'll take those. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's my. And then on top of that, the more it's shaking out to be, but even the more I'm looking at the info, the more I'm leaning towards like a Fed thing. But even then, it's like logistically, how many times does our government work on behalf of Israel? I'm not saying I'm not saying a Mossad agent shot him, but is it insane to think that it started off with something in Israel? I don't think it is, because if you look at the timeline with Charlie, and then they'll be like, what reason do they have doing it? Now, I will acknowledge the timeline comes off a little bit like a movie, and it does come off as like, needs a little bit of like perfect planning. But, if you look at Charlie Kirk, he was a dude he was a Christian guy. He was getting all this money from Israel. So because of that, and also, dude, because there was a personal incentive on his part to be like, I'm a devout Christian and I believe these places in Israel are religious sites. And I think Israel is important to exist to preserve these religious sites and shit like that. And then pair that up with just Israel or AIPAC or whoever it was just giving him a fuck ton of money. So, and this is the thing too, by the way, we have to stop treating like, obviously Charlie Kirk gets turned into a martyr for a more, the fuck, what? How did I fuck that one up? A martyr. It's like I get like a Boston accent every so often for no reason. I think it's all the coffee I'm drinking and my mouth's all fucking lubricated. Pause. But yeah, sure, he turns into a martyr, but people are also like looking at that, forgetting like, yeah, Charlie Kirk was chill, but he was a dickhead sometimes. And I'm just saying this for factual reasons. You know what I mean? Like, you go back and you watch these videos, and there's some videos where he's saying the most beautiful thing ever. And there's a video where, and honestly, it's structurally a great joke. It's fucked up, but it's structurally a great joke. But there's that video of Charlie Kirk where he's like, they're talking about throwing, someone brings up the thing where, because apparently in every Muslim country, gays are just getting fucking whiffed off roofs, like constantly. It's just a thing that's happening all the time. And Charlie Kirk made a joke where it's just like, joking about Israel leveling Gaza. And he's like, well, there's not many roofs left to throw gays off of. And then he says some really insensitive things about all the Gazans that die and the Palestinians and shit. And it's just like, oh, you're kind of being a monster in that clip. But also too, like, he's a young guy. He's probably being a little bit more, I've been there. I mean, I do that in my fucking 30s. He's probably being a little bit more crass than he because of lack of maturity and shit like that. And it's like, I'm not going to fault you for the worst thing you've ever done. I'll just see. I like to look at people of like everything they've done. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's like, but like, so I say that to say, yeah, Charlie Kirk has the capacity to be a shill for Israel because that's how he's getting all his funding. But he looks at the bigger picture and he goes, I can build up this Turning Point USA movement if I just accept all this Israel money and I just, kind of toe the line a little, because it's not that hard to toe the line at the time. But then, he builds up his organization. He gets all these young people galvanized. He gets like a lot of young people voting Republican, which is crazy. So he gets all these young people on his side. But then like October 6th happens. And for a lot of people who were just Candace Owens said it too. That's where she got fucking shit on for this. She was saying this on her podcast, the one podcast of hers I listened to yesterday. She was like, yeah, I did she's like, I said the shit because it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't a big issue of mine. She's like, yeah, you said the thing everyone else said about Israel because it felt right and it felt okay and it felt fine. And then, you start seeing post October 7th, all this shit happening. And then you're just like, see all this shit like post October 7th, all this shit happening, and you're just like, okay, you guys, it goes back to my analogy where Israel is like Brock Lesnar if a fucking teenager hit him over the head with a bat. It's like, yeah, if Brock Lesnar turns around and shoves him and starts screaming at him and goes, what the fuck's your problem? You're like, yeah, that kid earned that. But then what Israel does is basically if Brock Lesnar just started then kicking the teenager's head in, you're like, okay, it's a little far, brother. Because it just the vibes are it's like there's ulterior motives of why you're fucking these people up. But regardless, so like people like Candace Owens sees that shit, and that's why she never really talks shit about Israel. And it's like, just remember, that's when Israelis and Zionists started hating Candace Owens, is when she was like, hey, you guys are killing a lot of babies. You guys are killing a bunch of babies. Not a fan. And they were like, wow, look at this anti-Semite. Doesn't like babies dying. What an anti-Semite. And then, it's why, and then you see shit with Charlie Kirk towards the end of his life. And it's why people are like, Candace and Dave and Tucker and Megyn Kelly talking about Charlie Kirk's mindset at the end of his life. It's all ridiculous. And it's like, oh, so we're just going to pretend. What? We're going to pretend like that Charlie Kirk on PBD didn't happen? And we're going to pretend like Charlie Kirk, that Megyn Kelly interview they keep showing where he's like, I can't talk about Israel. So like, we're just going to pretend all these ones didn't happen. You're just going to ignore that. So everything Candace, Dave, and Tucker and Megyn are saying is crazy. And you're like, no, that's retarded. And so, yeah, now he's starting to realize that. And it's becoming hard to defend Israel. And it's becoming like he's becoming out because it's like, he has to, all the young people, it's like Megyn Kelly was saying in that one clip, a lot of young people under 30 are not fucking with Israel. They're not fucking with Israel. And that's Charlie Kirk's whole thing with Turning Point USA. He has all the young people there. And he's like, this is what Dave was saying, and I agree with him. There's that clip of him talking to Ben Shapiro, and they pause it on Ben Shapiro giving him a look. But in actuality, what's happening there is like Charlie Kirk's like, yo, give me something to tell these kids, because he's looking at the bigger picture and he still wants all their money. Like he wants to, but he's like, a lot of my shit is like, is based off me saying I'm going to tell the truth. And if I can't tell the truth on this Israel shit, I'd rather stop taking your money and not hurt my credibility. And so yeah, that's the situation. It comes off to me as very clearly like some turmoil going on between the groups and shit like that. That doesn't seem like a controversial take whatsoever. The idea that there's some like arguments and turmoil in the group with Charlie Kirk and the pro-Israeli people. And then they start realizing how much of a sway he has over these young people. The young people in his group helped Trump get elected. And most of the young people, even the conservatives, are like, yo, this Israeli shit fucking sucks ass. Like that's what happened to, who was it? The Nelk boys. They had Benjamin Netanyahu and they were like, oh, you like Burger King? And all that shit. And they let Benjamin Netanyahu just lie his ass off and stuff like that. And then that's like an apolitical audience who probably leans a little bit more right wing and shit, or not even right wing, just anti-woke bullshit. And they were even like, yo, what the fuck, you fucking idiots? So it's like the sentiment's going. And I'm not saying it's like a smart move, because that's the other thing. Like people get bogged down in like, well, they like that you give them A and they go like, but B, C, D, and E aren't going to work out perfectly. And you're like, okay, but also, a lot of these things we've just understood as like government operations, they're not the most thought out. And a lot of times it's a thing of like, we'll get this shit neutralized in the moment and then figure it out later. So like, and also Israel is good at doing very unnuanced haymakers. I think that's more than apparent with their history. So they do that. And then there's incentive for them to be like, because look, dude, if you look at it post, it's like, imagine them or our intelligence agency takes out Charlie Kirk, and now immediately all these Zionist dudes, Zionist or super pro Israel Daily Wire dudes, they're trying to take over his organization. They have they're trying to get in there in the mix, and now they're trying to like control the narrative on things and do this and that. I'm not saying it's not a little bit of parts of it don't come off as a long shot. You know what else comes off as a long shot? The official narrative on the shooter. So if the official narrative is crazier than what I'm saying, then I'm allowed to speculate about what I'm speculating about. You know what I mean? Like, I make it for, and going back to the Jose tweet here, because I brought this up earlier, and I think Jose had a pretty good tweet. I wouldn't say it exactly this way, but I think he had a pretty good tweet. But here, let me delete some of these things I'm looking at. Jose going all the hemming and hawing about it being so absurd and ridiculous that Israel could theoretically kill an integral mouthpiece that was looking like he was going to turn on them at one of their most important times in their ongoing crusade for Satan is frankly detached from reality. Oh yeah, and that's the other thing where it's like, even if they can't control the people who love Charlie, getting rid of a dude like Charlie is then going to splinter the movement. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like a huge swath of the young people are growing up anti-Israel. So if you can sort of slow that down, at least there's incentive there. Once again, it's a big claim, but it's like, I'm not going to sit here and act like it's fucking impossible, because some of the other ones that we don't have, some of the other conspiracies that we don't have proof on 100%, that we all just kind of believe, like, oh, Charlie Manson was Charlie Manson, and like I got the book right there, Chaos. Charlie Manson and the fucking not Bohemian Grove, that's the fucking place Alex Jones went to, whatever that, the Haight-Ashbury area in California or San Francisco or whatever the fuck it was. Like a lot of us just assume that was a high scale MK Ultra test. That sounds fucking crazy. You know what I mean? But like, people don't question that one as much. This one's just newer. But like, the pieces are there. And then over time, when new bits of information, that's like I just said, like, oh, was that an Israeli? Was that like, I'm making a joke the day it happened. Is that a Mossad agent that killed him? Get more information. Mossad agent becomes a little bit more ridiculous. Now, oh, and it's like, we're not saying any of these things like they're 100% true. It's just, what are we going to do? We're just going to sit here and we're fucking losers who podcast every day. We're not going to fucking throw out our ideas. I don't know. They could and they would. And shit looks a little fishy. Did they? I don't know. We still know almost nothing. And what we do know makes it little to no sense at multiple levels. Stop being freezes. I don't give a fuck about your gay lectures. I'll speculate all the fuck I want. The death of Kirk did not make you the new gatekeepers. In fact, it likely kicked the gate wide the fuck open. Suck my dick. Yeah, and not the way I'm gonna say it, but that's Jose's right. But like, and I was just like, kind of what I've been saying since the jump. Obviously, we don't have evidence of anything specific yet, and I'm not gonna say something is true I don't know to be true. But God forbid I make educated guesses and speculate based off certain organizations' past behavior and future incentives. You know what I mean? So like, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's very, very, very important to not say something is true if you don't know it to be true. But I mean, how much of any of this shit we talk about do we know to be 100% true? A lot of it we don't know to be 100% true. But you look at the information and make educated guesses. And It's been 10 days since Charlie Kirk got shot, and this is an educated guess of a scenario I think could be potentially true, but not. I'm not going to sit here and say it's the most likely, but you know what I mean? Because it doesn't come off as natural. It doesn't come off as natural, and this is. I don't even know if the fucking Israel thing's true. I'm just saying, like, that's a scenario that would make sense contextually. What are you guys saying? Can we go back to a simpler time of throwing green dildos? I hate that shit. We don't joke when blaming Israel. Slav means it. I joke. Shut the fuck up, Slav. Don't say what I think. I'm gonna start watching college football. Love you, Dunbar. Fuck France. What the fuck? I don't like this comment. Found you. What the hell? Are you just asking where I lived before? Oh yeah, I don't like these comments, brother. Where's your next gig? Where is my next gig? Oh fuck! I gotta hit my buddy up. I gotta cancel on him. It was gonna be in town tonight, but I gotta cancel out on him. I missed the one in Buda. I'm in Fort Worth. Oh, okay. How was the Fort Worth stock and rodeo show? Laurel Canyon. Yeah, Laurel Canyon and the Haight-Ashbury. Hell yeah! All right, boys. This was very fun. I gotta go eat something. I didn't eat anything today, and I had almost no water. So that's how you get me on these pods. Have a great day. I love you guys. I'll